So I remember hearing the story of Joseph for the first time as a young boy, and being so sad whenever you learn of his betrayal by his brothers and how his brothers sell him into slavery. But then you feel that sense of relief whenever he starts a new life, is adopted by Potiphar, and becomes this great figure in Potiphar's household. And then but the thing I remember the most is the shock whenever you read in the story how Joseph is then betrayed again by Potiphar's wife. And I remember just being so upset for Joseph. I don't know, maybe I felt like I could just deliver him justice or save him or something, but and it could be that adage of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, because we can handle being fooled once. We can handle a first betrayal. We can handle being wronged once because that's your fault. But if it happens over and over and over again, now there's a bigger issue at hand. And I remember thinking that on Joseph's behalf. Not necessarily that it was his fault, but God, are you not seeing what's happening? Do you not know what's happening here to your servant, to Joseph? And then I pause and I reflect on what we've studied as we've opened the book of Genesis for its entirety. And I reflect back to the beginning, this paradigmatic truth that it tries to paint for us, that, remember, Genesis wants us to know that the victim is not humanity. While the other religions of Mesopotamia paint humans to be the creations of lazy gods who were tired of doing chores, and so they created humans to carry the burdens for them so that they could go into heaven and play and do whatever they wanted and lounge and sleep. And now humanity is left to bear the burden. And humanity becomes this victim of the gods. The book of Genesis takes that narrative and it flips it around. And remember, it says, no, humans aren't the victim of an evil God. A good God is the one who is being wronged by evil humans. And as we've studied the people of God and studied this family that God has chosen, we start to see this intense brokenness and suffering and trickery and deception and lying and ugliness. And the Bible doesn't hide these things from us. And we can look at it, I think, in three spheres. You have the sphere of immediate impact. That immediately there is a person who is suffering because of this injustice. Joseph. And then you zoom out and you say, you can say, so what does this mean for Joseph? But what does this mean for the people of God? Remember, God chose this family. He chose this family to be a blessing to the world. What does it mean for these people that they're acting so unjustly? And then you take a step further and you say, so what does that mean for the world? Because if these are the people that God is going to use to bless the world and they're behaving this way, what's at stake? And as we look at the story of Joseph, we have to start off by looking at a story of injustice. And we have to remember that the book of Genesis wants us to acknowledge the fact that the problem lies not with God. The problem is with us. But don't worry. It's coming at the end of Joseph's story, and really we'll camp out there next week. This phrase where Joseph says, what humans meant for evil, God meant for good. And that is the message of the book of Genesis. But today, let's talk a little more about this injustice.